Good afternoon, YouTube. How's it going? Demigod, Colt, or Dan here. I have Zach with me. So this is the first installation of the Sportscast. We don't have a name for it yet, so we're gonna call it Sportscast, and it might stick and it might not. So this is the first iteration of that. This is that sports talk show that we've talked about on stream before and in other videos. Really looking forward to doing this. I'm really thankful that Zach agreed to be kind of my co-host for this. Not kind of, he is the co-host. So I am the fan. I watch every sport. I like to see what's going on, all that kind of stuff. And now I'm gonna pass it over to Zach. He's gonna give you a little bit about himself, and we'll jump into what today's show will be about. Zach, go ahead.
Cool. Yep. Zach, avid sports fan. I played D1 baseball, so baseball is my expertise, but football has always been something I've followed, so be able to chime in, and I guess we're gonna go over predictions and records and pick our Super Bowl champions today.
Yeah, absolutely. So Zach, what was kind of your process before we get into those? What was kind of your process going through? Did you look at every game, or did you just look at the teams and think, where are they gonna land?
Yeah, I didn't look at a single schedule of any of the teams, which obviously is a factor, but I just looked at the teams, kind of thought about their rosters and thought about their division. Obviously, there are harder divisions than others, and those two factors were kind of my leads for picking these teams and their records.
Gotcha. So just to get our biases out there in the open, I'm a huge Colts fan. My second team is probably, I would consider it the Saints or the Seahawks. One of those two. So my goal is that my bias will not show, but when people start attacking Peyton Manning, I get very defensive because he is the reason we have football in Indiana, basically. So that is my bias. Zach, go ahead. You can let them know where your bias lies.
Well, resident of Seattle, so you guys can probably guess my bias. Seahawks. At least they're a good team, unlike the Colts. So I can have them go a little further into the playoffs.
Okay.
Then Dan might have the Colts go.
Okay. Sure. So as you can see, Zach doesn't have a webcam yet. He will eventually have one. We just, with coronavirus and the hiking of prices, we just haven't gotten him one yet. But he will have one in the future, and this will be more of a one-on-one talk. Really, the future of this is we'll have other people in with us kind of talking through things. We've got some friends that, he's got friends that played baseball. I've got a cousin that played football. I've got a couple friends that are referees, and hopefully we can actually get some athletes in here at some point as well. Professional athletes, retired or current. Hopefully we can get to that as well. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into our predictions for this NFL season. Obviously tonight the games start. If you're watching this on Friday the 11th, it's obviously, we've already missed Thursday night, but these are our predictions for this season. So,
and we're recording this before that Thursday night game. So
correct. Yes.
Although Chiefs and Texans are good teams, but no Chiefs or Texans bias here.
Yeah, definitely not a Texan bias in this one. Where's Monkey when we need him, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the AFC North. As you can see on the screen, we kind of have our predictions. So I guess I didn't really explain how I did my predictions. So I did my predictions based off of the schedule. I looked at the schedule, and every week I basically went through and said, I believe this team is going to beat this team. I know the rosters fairly well, all that kind of stuff. And you'll also see that we included a Madden simulation in that as well. That was just starting franchise and sim it all the way through the Super Bowl, look at the rosters, records, all that kind of stuff. So as we start, we got our AFC North. So all of us really agreed that the Ravens were going to be the best team. And I think, Zach, you'd agree with me. Lamar Jackson is just too much to handle. I mean, doesn't matter who you're playing against, what defense he's playing against. Dude's just going to run all over the field. He's going to pass the ball. He won the MVP last year. So, I mean, he could come a back-to-back from that standpoint. And then there's a little bit of difference. So the Browns, Zach and Madden believe that the Browns are going to be second. I believe it's the Steelers. I don't know about you, Zach, but I can't get on the Browns bandwagon. I know their roster is really great, but Baker Mayfield, I just don't. I think he's a Johnny Manziel 2.0. He's a better Johnny Manziel 2.0, but I just think he's Johnny Manziel 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I'm really not on either of these teams' bandwagons. The Steelers to me just seemed kind of like this aged team that are just gonna go 8-8 or something, and I guess not really compete for a playoff spot as you can see with the standings there.
Yeah.
The Browns they just have a little bit more upside to me. Mayfield could take a step forward. They have OBJ, who I believe has been dealing with injuries and is coming into this year healthy. They've got a good receiving corps.
Yeah, I mean they got Jarvis Landry.
Running backs. They've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's gonna be a pretty good duo on the backfield. So I just think they have more upside to get that second spot in that division than the Steelers do.
They also drafted a couple offensive linemen, if I remember right. So, and they added Austin Hooper, who was the tight end from Atlanta. So I may not be giving them enough credit.
Looking at your standings here, they're not on the screen, but you have the Steelers at 12-4, which is that's a pretty good record. Which just seems high to me, and you have the Browns at 7-9. I think those are going to be closer, and I think the Browns are just going to barely edge the Steelers in my mind.
Yeah, I could see it being that way for sure. I mean, you look at them. I don't have the Madden records up in front of me. I can actually pull those up. Probably actually should have sent you both of those, but the Madden record had them at the Browns at 9-6-1 and the Steelers at 7-8-1. So, I mean, that kind of falls in line with kind of what you were thinking. Yeah. I guess
pretty spot on.
My reasoning behind it is this is such a quarterback driven league, right? Like, and you can't doubt that there's no denying that Big Ben is still an elite quarterback. I mean, I know he was hurt last year, but if he stays healthy, he's an elite quarterback. What Juju Smith-Schuster does and James Conner, who knows? And who knows what their defense will be like. But I don't know. The Steelers are just one of those perennial teams that just are always there. And I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns fans, but your team just is not good most of the time. And they let you down. Like they had an amazing roster last year, and I think they won like 3 games. So and
I know I'm betting on the Cleveland Browns. That's not the smartest thing to do. But, I'm picking their upside over the Steelers.
And then we both had the Bengals last, and I think that's probably has to do with just Joe Burrow not knowing how his game will transition to LSU, at least, or from LSU to the NFL. I mean, that's at least why I put them last. I think they've got the weakest roster. I think Joe Burrow had a heck of a year last year at LSU, but can he consistently do that? I'm not sure anyone really knows.
I think for me, it's more, I guess, the talent on the roster. I mean, sure, they've got AJ Green coming back from injury. I believe it's Tyler Boyd who caught, I want to say, like 80 or 90 plus balls last year, but I don't really know. I don't really trust their defense. I think Joe Burrow is gonna be fine in the NFL, but I don't know if there's enough around him on both sides of the ball to really push up that third or second slot in the North there. Yeah,
that makes sense. I agree with that. So now we'll transition away from the AFC North, and we'll go ahead and go to the AFC East. So obviously big shakeup with Tom Brady leaving. Madden, for some reason, man, they're riding that Cam Newton wave, I guess. But and I didn't look at any of the stat totals for players. Maybe in the future when we talk about teams, that's something. And I do a simulation on Madden. That's something that we that I look at. but we're both in agreement that the Bills are going to be the best team in this division, and why I picked them is very simple. I think Josh Allen is a good quarterback. I think they've added a lot of weapons around him, mainly Stefon Diggs, and I just think he's going to open it up for that Bills offense and really allow them to take those next steps. And the reason why I can't really put the Patriots winning this division is I'm not sure they even have a defense, because 8 of their players opted out of this season because of coronavirus. So, I mean, that's the big selling point for me. I mean, I still had them. I had the Patriots at a 6-10. I honestly think the AFC East is probably the weakest division in football right now.
At least, yeah, probably AFC East. I'm not a fan of the NFC East that much either.
I'd agree with that too.
I think the Bills, I mean, we're both in agreement on 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. I think the Bills are gonna have a good year. The Patriots, it's hard to bet against Belichick, but like you said, they're missing, gosh, at least 4, 5, 6 guys on their defense.
Yeah.
Cam Newton is not going to be the running threat that he was 5 or 6 years ago, I don't think. And can you really trust him to sling the ball 40 times a game?
He's never showed it. He's never showed it. I mean, unless he's got tall receivers that we don't know about that he can just lob it up to, but I don't think he has that either.
Really, the only reason I have them second is because the Jets are so bad. Sam Darnold could kind of take a step forward and show some promise, but the Jets are so bad, and the Dolphins, they just aren't exciting. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who seems like he's been in the league for about 20 years. He's starting quarterback.
Well, they have Tua though. They have Tua.
Yeah, but he's coming off like a
hip injury,
almost like a life threat, or not a life, sorry, a career threatening injury.
Injury. Yeah.
So I don't even know if he's practicing. Who knows if he's going to get playing time this year? Maybe at the end of the year if he's getting healthy. But
yeah, absolutely.
I think seems like a pretty easy division to pin here.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to the division that's most important to me, the AFC South. Obviously, I have the AFC South. In the AFC South, I have the Colts, and Madden agreed with me, the Colts winning this division. The reason why I have the Colts winning the division, trying to put my bias as best I possibly can aside, I just think the Colts have added with DeForest Buckner, the wide receiver talent we've added. We've got one of the best offensive lines in the league. PPF, is that Professional Football Focus or Pro Football Focus? Yeah, they've got the Colts offensive line rated the best in the league. We had a Jonathan Taylor as a running back from Wisconsin who was like 6th all time in NCAA rushing yards, which means he's got a lot of wear and tear on the tires, right? But hoping he can add that. And frankly, we got rid of Jacoby Brissett. We didn't get rid of him. He's still on the roster, but we added, instead of Jacoby Brissett, we've got a quarterback in Phillip Rivers that can actually manage a game and actually play well, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And we also got rid of Adam Vinatieri. Love Adam Vinatieri, probably one of the greatest kickers, if not the greatest kicker of all time. But he won't be. We won't have him missing kicks this year, which made us lose like 4 games last year. So it's kind of why I have the Colts there. With the Texans, I don't know who they have on their roster as far as wide receivers go. I know they have Will Fuller, but after that, like, do they have anyone?
They've got, they kind of have a boom or bust wide receiving corps with Will Fuller. They've got Brandon Cooks.
Oh, that's right. They added Brandon Cooks. I forgot about that.
Definitely forgetting one more guy that they added.
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant name.
Yeah.
I have to pull up a depth chart here, but if Brandon Cooks returns to his old Saints performances, and Will Fuller stays healthy, I mean, he was on a tear to start last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've got Deshaun Watson. Defense is a question mark, but I think their offense is just
Yeah,
gonna explode.
I don't know what they're going to have on defense. I mean, I hate to see it because I like him as a player. I like watching him as much as he terrorizes the Colts. JJ Watt, man. I'm disappointed in the fact that he got injured. I mean, it looks like he's out for the season. I think it was an ACL.
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb, okay.
Yeah, he's going to be the primary slot receiver.
He's kind of hit or miss.
I mean, he was a stud with Green Bay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Watson can have that slot guy to target.
I think we
8
all
to 10 times a game.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. I mean, I'm happy to see that we all agree that the Jaguars are just not going to be that good. Gardner Minshew, I just not sold on him. And then the Titans, I struggle with the Titans because they've got a great running back. And then, which Ryan Tannehill are we going to get? Are you going to get the Ryan Tannehill that was Dolphins quarterback for 6 years, or are you going to get or 5 years, or however long he was with the Dolphins, or are you going to get the quarterback that they had last year? Like, they're banking on him keeping up that performance, and I just don't think it's reasonable.
It's a fair question, but I think he's in a scheme and an offense with a running back that can take the pressure off him, and I think that's what we saw last year with their playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
And they signed Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, that's a big signing for them.
That defense was already pretty good, and now they got a guy that's, an elite pass rusher, elite run stopper at the defensive end position. So,
did he stay healthy last year with the Seahawks?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I know that was kind of a concern with Houston, if he'd be healthy.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big plus for that defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think the top three in this division could go any direction. I could see the Colts winning it, but I don't think there's gonna be more than about 2 or 3 games that separate, the 1 seed and maybe the 3 seed. So there's gonna be a team that might miss the playoffs that
otherwise shouldn't.
Another division maybe shouldn't have. Yeah.
I definitely think that the South has the potential to be the strongest division in the AFC. By far, just across the board, I think they're the strongest in the AFC. So we'll go ahead and I guess I didn't ask that question. I told you I was going to ask. Why the Colts third?
Well, I just kind of explained it. Like, the Texans could be, say, 11-5, and the Colts, I could see the Colts being 9-7. That's a good record. It's a tough division. They're gonna be beating up on each other all year.
Yeah.
But I could see the Colts, if the Colts take 2 from the Texans, split with the Titans, maybe they're 10-6 and the Texans are 9-7. So
yeah.
I think this division could be, it's gonna be very close. So
generally
I don't think
with
I'm as low as the standings show.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing when I always looked at, like, years past when I've thought about doing this, like, I've always looked at how the Colts have kind of played against the AFC South, and generally the Colts generally, like, split 1 with Tennessee. They generally beat Jacksonville twice.
Yeah.
And they generally, like, some years they split with Texans, some years they don't, and they win both games. Very rarely do we not split in our division, and for a while there we were winning all the games. But
I guess I failed to mention too, you brought it up, but Philip Rivers obviously taken over in Indy, but I just don't see him being as explosive enough as he is going to need to be to propel them to the top seed in this division.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely not the top.
I think you said game manager. He'll be a good game manager, which, you've seen Alex Smith with, like, the 49ers do it, Garoppolo even with the Niners, but I just don't know if you get the Texans and the Colts in a shootout. Is Rivers going to outplay Watson? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's go ahead and jump to another weak division in the AFC, the West. I think this one's fairly easy. We all basically agree on this one. Chiefs are winning. I mean, Super Bowl champions. Honestly, Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Tyreek Hill is amazing. Travis Kelce is amazing. I mean, really, I guess the question comes down to what does their defense look like? But I don't think there's any arguments there on the Chiefs being really good. Madden only had them with a 9-7 record, which I don't agree with that at all. But whatever.
A little off.
Yeah, the Raiders, I just don't know. I mean, I view the Raiders as what do they really have in a team? I mean, they have Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah,
and then what else? And they've got Jacobs as their running back.
Jacobs. I think he's primed for a breakout year. He's a really good receiving running back, and I think he's going to start getting more touches as a runner.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll let Derek Carr kind of find some openings in the passing game.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, their defense isn't great. I just think they're going to finish second just because the other two teams are just not. I mean, Tyrod Taylor is the
starter for
the Chargers. And,
or you have who did they draft? Chargers. Who did Chargers draft? That quarterback out of Oregon. Why am I like blanking on it? Justin Herbert. Yeah.
Herbert, yeah.
You don't know what he's going to do. I mean, Tyrod Taylor has not had a good showing with the Bills or the Browns previous to the Chargers. So, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay. And I'm not hot on the Broncos. I mean, they just lost Von Miller for the year. They just lost him for the year, and I'm not sold on Drew Lock. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback.
I don't think they have enough at the skill positions either, really. I mean, they signed Melvin Gordon, who has been good with the Chargers, so I think he'll be a good running back. But quarterback play is a question mark. Lost their best defensive player, so
yeah, for sure. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and hop over to the NFC North now. Let's see what we have to talk about in the NFC North. So we were pretty. We were both in agreement that the Lions suck. Sorry, Detroit, but they're just not very good. I can't think of, honestly, for the life of me, I can't think of who they actually have on defense. Ndamukong Suh was like 5 years ago on their defense, and they haven't been the same kind of defense ever since. I think they still have Darius Slay, but like even then he's getting up there in age, so how good is he going to be? And I guess the top three, I mean, you can look at what I put there, and it's, the Bears and the Packers, I think, are closely knit. The Vikings getting rid of Stephon Diggs, I think, is a huge hit to them. I think they're counting way too much on Adam Thielen to carry the load, and I'm just not sure Adam can do that. I think he's a great player. They're also counting on Dalvin Cooks to make it work, and he hasn't been super healthy either. Great running back. Really wanted the Colts to draft him 2 years ago, but or 3 years ago, but I just don't trust him, and it's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers. In my mind, the best quarterback in the league.
To me, though, obviously Aaron Rodgers has kind of been on a decline. He could take another kind of step back and relive his 2015 years, but the Vikings, their scheme and their defense combined with their skill position talent on offense just kind of gives them the floor in this division that isn't the strongest, that I think they'll squeak out on top with 9 or 10 wins.
Yeah.
And Bears, Trubisky's a huge question mark.
Well, and they got Nick Foles now too, who doesn't know how to be a starting quarterback in the league, but can win a Super Bowl as the backup,
Yeah. But they've got talent at receiver.
Yeah.
Solid defense. Talent at running back. Tariq Cohen's going to catch a lot of balls back there. I see them being 8-8, and the Packers just something about them.
It's fair. They didn't really add much on offense. I think your feelings towards them are fair. I mean, they're going to rely, as they have on Aaron Rodgers pretty
Yeah,
heavily. I mean, they didn't draft they drafted a quarterback in the first round. They didn't just draft a quarterback in the first round. They traded up into the first round for Jordan Love, which is what I wanted. I wanted the Colts to get Jordan Love, but
I think that says a lot about kind of what they're I think they're going into the season like, hey, we might be a 7-9, 8-8 team. Maybe we squeak out 1 or 2 wins here and there, and we can make a move in accordance with how our season's going.
yeah,
Halfway through. And I think they're kind of playing for that like 8-8 floor that maybe they can make a move, and if it doesn't work out, well, they have their quarterback replacement for the next.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see how that could play out that way. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
But they got Rodgers. He's gonna throw it 300 times to Devontae Adams.
That's all they need, right?
They could put up some points.
Yeah, I know. I have a Bears friend. I know I have a friend that's a Bears fan that will absolutely hate me for this. He also says that the AFC doesn't know how to play defense. Their defense is horrible. All of their defense is horrible. And that NFC division is way harder. And it's like, okay, whatever floats your boat. All right. So keeping on, we'll go ahead and jump over to the NFC East. And you said earlier that you thought this was probably the weakest division, one of the weakest divisions in football. I definitely think they're the weakest division in the NFC. I mean, it's like, where do you start with this? I mean, I think the Cowboys easily win this division. They just have better premier talent than everyone else in their division. I mean, yeah, you've got Carson Wentz, who's a good quarterback when healthy, but he hasn't shown that he can stay healthy, and I mean, he's gone into the playoffs, but he was injured against the Seahawks the first game in the playoffs last year. So, does he stay healthy? Does his back stay healthy? There's just too many questions for me with the Eagles. I think I really like Daniel Jones. I think he was a great draft pick for the Giants. I just don't know how that'll turn out.
There's not enough around him to give him what he needs, I think.
And then the Washington football team, or as in Madden, they would call it football team, which is hilarious to me. They're just not good. I just don't think they're good. I don't have any confidence in their team. I don't have any confidence in Hank Baskett, right? Or not Hank Baskett. That's the dude that screwed over the Colts.
Think of their quarterback?
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins?
Haskins, yeah. Dwayne Haskins. Haskins, yeah.
Dude.
I would love to see Alex Smith dress and play. I think that would be awesome with all he went through, but I think Dwayne Haskins is going to be their quarterback, and I just don't think he's that good. And that could be my bias against Ohio State. But, I just don't see it.
I agree with that. I think this is... What were you going to say?
I was going to say, do you think Dak Prescott actually finishes the season as the starting quarterback for the Cowboys? Or you think Andy Dalton takes over at some point?
Yeah, he's going to finish the season.
Okay.
I think he's one of the more overrated quarterbacks in the league. He's talented. He can get a team, 10 or 11 wins, but I just, you see some of these preseason rankings talking about more so like fantasy football, putting Prescott up with Watson and, into the top 5 tier with Russell Wilson, and you just kind of start putting question marks there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a weak division. The Eagles are okay. Giants are not great. Washington's terrible. So the Cowboys are going to win 11 games, but I could see them easily getting first rounded, depending who the matchup is in the playoffs.
I mean, Madden had them winning 13-2. They were 13-2-1 in Madden.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Madden had 2 ties. There was another tie.
Madden had like 4 ties. So real quick, the Browns, the Steelers, the Colts, the Texans, the Buccaneers, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and Washington all had ties. I don't think I've ever seen so many ties in a Madden game. But
that's bold.
But hey, man, that's what simulating gets you.
Yeah.
Oh man, what were you gonna say before I interrupted about the Andy Dalton question?
No, I think I got my point across. The Cowboys are going to win division 11-5, 12-4. Eagles are going to be there at 8-8, 9-7, and then you got the bottom two teams.
Yeah. Right. We'll go ahead and jump to the NFC South. I think this is the division that most people are most interested in, personally.
Yeah.
And you and I agree on this one. I think this is one of the only ones that we fully agreed across the board. I'm trying to look back real quick. No, we agreed with the AFC East as well, fully. But I think Drew Brees is too good. I think Michael Thomas and Drew Brees are just too good together with Alvin Kamara in that as well. I just think they're just too good. I think they've got a better defense than the Bucs. So I think that's why I put the Saints up top. I mean, obviously Tom Brady with the Buccaneers, with all the weapons that they have, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, OJ Howard, Gronkowski, and adding Leonard Fournette. It's like the rich get richer, man. It's insane to me. I think it's close. I had the Saints at 13-3 and the Bucs at 12-4. I mean, they're right there with each other. The Falcons, you just never know what they're going to do. They got Todd Gurley now, but is that enough to set them over the top? Because they had, what was his name? Freeman. They had the running back Freeman, Devontae Freeman. And I just think the Panthers aren't good. I don't know what we're going to get with Teddy Bridgewater.
It will be interesting to see how Teddy Bridgewater plays this year. I think it might be fun for Carolina fans to at least watch their team this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Great, but he's got some running capability. He can throw the ball, so
I'm sure
be a fun team to watch.
This is another instance where I'm sure I'm going to get a text message from somebody, one of my friends, who's like, "Are you kidding me?" He's a huge Panthers fan. Shout out to Evan, but I'm sorry, man. I just don't know how your team's going to do. I'm not sure they actually have a wide receiver on the roster. They just have McCaffrey, right? That's all they have.
Well, they've got what's his name, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, that's right. That's right.
Ooh. He had a good year, and I want to say he's only in his. It's got to be like maybe even second year, if not third.
Yeah, I think it's his third.
And he could take a step forward. Bridgewater can throw the ball. So they, like I said, they can be kind of an exciting duo. You got McCaffrey. He's going to single-handedly get you a couple wins. So
yeah, guys, I'm really sad that Luke Kuechly doesn't play anymore, though. He was one of my favorite players. I think he's definitely one of the best linebackers to ever play the game, personally. Yeah. At least in our time. So, go ahead.
The one thing I wanted to note on this division, obviously the Bucs are going to be an exciting team to watch, but the Saints and Alvin Kamara specifically, I've kind of got some. Being a trainer, social media, I follow a lot of personal trainers and some guys who train. They've trained LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. Some
Kyrie
athletes. Kyrie Irving. Anyway, this trainer kind of did a review. Alvin Kamara, if you guys have been on social media, has posted a lot of these kind of fancy looking workouts where he's dangling kettlebells with a squat bar and walking around trying to simulate. I really don't even know, actually. The gist of it is his training, as this trainer said, was basically leading and potentially causing some of the injuries he's had and is already dealing with. He's got an epidural shot in his back, I believe, for an SI irritation, which is not a great way to start your season as a running back. So I'm a little skeptical that Alvin Kamara can stay healthy for a full year. And if he is healthy and playing, what percentage is he at? If his SI joint is acting up because some of the off-season training he's done,
So so for the people that aren't physical training, kind of where is that SI? If you could describe where that SI joint is, where is the SI joint?
It's basically where your hip bone meets your tailbone on the back side.
Okay.
So it can cause a ton of back pain. It can if you really hurt that SI joint, it can just lock up your back. Your lower back muscles are gonna tense up and try and protect that area.
Gotcha.
So if he's dealing with that already preseason, it's a little worrisome if I'm a Saints fan. So we'll see how that plays out. If he comes in, he's feeling better. He had the shot, I believe, with him like a week or two ago. So who knows how it plays out.
Now, is he put on rest after that shot? Like, because I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I know when I got a cortisone shot, or when I got offered a cortisone shot in my shoulder when I threw it out, they're like, "Yeah, don't do any physical activity for like 3 days." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, don't give me the shot. We'll just do something else."
Yep.
Okay.
So that's just a little interesting tidbit. One of these kind of star trainers, trains LeBron, Dwayne Wade, came out with a video criticizing some of the training videos of Alvin Kamara, and here we are now talking about Alvin Kamara with SI joint injury.
Yeah.
Epidural shot. So he had I believe it was an MCL injury last year.
Yeah, I think so.
So you just wonder what his physical fitness is. Obviously very talented, but
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, and now your biased one. We'll go ahead and talk about the NFC West. Yeah. I think we're both in agreement here. I honestly think that the NFC West is the best division in football. It's
this year
very hard for me not to think it's the best.
I mean, you got the Seahawks, perennial playoff team.
Since you got Russell, let's be honest here. They weren't that great with Matt Hasselbeck.
Hasselbeck and Marshawn, we pulled off the Saints comeback there.
That's true.
Quick run. 7-9, got the home field advantage, I think it was.
Yeah, that's true. Which makes no sense, but great job, NFL.
yeah. But like you said, I mean, this division is loaded. Cardinals are uber talented on offense. They've got Kyler Murray, signed DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyon Drake at running back. Larry Fitzgerald's going to put up numbers. It's getting old, but it's up there. And then Niners, they were in the Super Bowl. I think they're going to take a step back. It looks like we both think that's going to happen.
I definitely think they will because of the fact of all the people that they've gotten rid of on defense. I think losing DeForest Buckner, that big body in the middle, is going to really be detrimental to them. And we just don't know how good Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be, right? Like, there were times where he's like, oh my gosh, this guy's the next best quarterback in the NFL. And then there were other games where it's like, did this guy even throw for 100 yards this game? Like, what's going on?
His inconsistency is, I think we saw it in the Super Bowl. It just, I don't think it's going to put them over the top. In such a loaded division. With the Cardinals stepping up this year, assuming their talent comes out to play. And the Rams are a great team. You have them at number 2. I got them all the way down at 4, but I guess the 4 can be.
Well, I mean, if you look at the records that I put them at, I mean, I had the Seahawks at 13-3, and the only reason I have the Seahawks at 13-3 is because they have to play the Saints in New Orleans. I'm pretty sure they're playing the Saints in New Orleans. That's going to be a hard game. Always is. Just as if they were coming up to Seattle, it'd be a hard game. So, and then they always lose to the Cardinals and the Rams once.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's been in Seattle.
Always have a home game. Yeah. Home game versus the Rams.
Yeah. It's like late in the season too. It's always late in the season.
Yeah. And we just get blown out. It never makes sense. And then we come back and we'll play like the Packers or Saints next week and win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of my logic with the Seahawks is they're those 3 games I have them losing are 2 in the division and 1 against, I think, the Saints or the Bucks, one of the 2 teams. I forget which one it is. And I mean, I have the Cardinals at 9-7, the Rams at 13-3 as well, and the 49ers at 10-6. I mean, really, it's a toss-up with the Cardinals, right? You don't know what Kyler Murray is going to do his second season. And is Cliff Kingsbury gonna actually continue to be a good coach? Because I mean, last season we didn't really see it. I think they were like what, 3 and what was their record last year?
Yeah, not that great, I don't think.
I think it was really low last year. Let's see here real quick. What was their record? Their record was 5-10. So like I'm saying that they're going 5-10-1. I'm saying they're gonna progress. I'm saying they're gonna get better. I just like DeAndre Hopkins probably wins you a few more games. But what are they gonna do on defense? I mean, they still have Patrick Peterson. That's great. But other than that, their defense isn't that strong. So it'll be a really interesting I think it'll be a really interesting season to watch the NFC West because of the fact that they have so much good talent. And I hope the Cardinals surprise me. I hope the Cardinals are second in the division. That would be great. If it was Seahawks and then Cardinals, I'd love it.
It's kind of the Cardinals here is kind of one of my fun predictions. They could be a 7-9 team, but I think with Hopkins and you assume Kyler Murray takes a step forward as a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
And you got Kenyon Drake in the backfield with a decent defense. I think they'll be a fun team.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
So that's why I got them number 2.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and look at, since we're already here, we'll go ahead and look at the teams that we say are going to make the NFC playoffs. So just so everyone knows, you may be asking, why are there 7 teams on the screen? Honestly, I thought it was only 6 still, personally myself, but the NFL this year has added 7 teams per division or per conference will make the playoffs. Only the first seed will get the bye. And then from there, they'll play the lowest seed that wins their first game. So just looking at our list, I mean, we've got the Cowboys, really our big differences are, the Rams versus the Cardinals. You've got we both have the Bucks making it. You've got the Bears instead of, you've got 2 NFC North teams. I've got 3 NFC West teams. Because I just think that division is really good. I think it's going to be hard for those teams to really. You talk about the South beating each other up. I mean, the NFC West is going to do the same.
Yeah.
So
I think both our lists. I don't know about Madden's list. That's a little weird.
Yeah, the Panthers.
But I think both our lists are realistic.
I would say so. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and jump over to the AFC. And I didn't break out every round, right? Like I wasn't gonna do that. I think
we're gonna touch on our Super Bowl.
Yeah, we will definitely get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my biggest thing with this is, I have 3 AFC South teams in the in the AFC playoffs, and I just think that realistically, it's going to be a hard fought battle. You and I talked about it. You touched on it. You thought that. There could be 3 teams that make it, just simply how good the teams in that division are, and how tight they'll be. The question is, how does the breakdown on all the other divisions play out? Really is what it's going to come down to, from that standpoint. So yeah, I mean that's where I am on that.
Again, I think the Raiders are, along with the Cardinals, might be one of those teams that surprise people this year.
Yeah, I could see it.
They've got a bit of talent. The new move to Las Vegas. They won't have any fans there in the stands, but I think they'll have a solid year, sneak in the playoffs.
I think we need to take a trip down to Las Vegas for a game.
Hey, if a couple weeks in we get 2,500 fan capacity, right?
Yeah. Hey, I
wonder what those ticket prices are.
Oh, I don't even want to know. I kind of wanted to look at the Colts tickets prices, but I was like, it's going to be only season ticket holders that get to go to those games. So it was kind of one of those things for me. I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. But all right, we'll go ahead and look at our Super Bowl predictions now. So before I pull those up, it appears that for me, I had the Colts and Ravens, Chiefs and Steelers. You and the Saint Bucks, Seahawks, Cowboys in the divisional round. And then in the championship round, I had Chiefs versus the Ravens, Seahawks versus the Bucks. You had in the divisional round Titans, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, Bucks, Saints, Cowboys, Seahawks. And then the championship, you had Ravens, Chiefs, and Bucks, Seahawks. Madden, which is on drugs, had Colts, Browns, Chiefs, Ravens, Cardinals, Cowboys, Packers, Saints, and in the conference championships, they had the Browns and the Chiefs, Saints and Cowboys. They're on drugs, man. I just don't see the Browns making it. But when you see who their champion is, you're gonna be like, "There's no way. They're on drugs." So here we go. We got ours. I'm saying that the Chiefs versus Bucks in the Super Bowl, with the Bucks coming out on top. I just really honestly think that the Buccaneers and playoff Tom Brady are just going to be too good, too much to handle with Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Mike Evans, OJ Howard, a better offensive line, one of the better offensive lines Brady's will see, and a defense that can actually hold their own. I think it's just going to be really hard for any team to really beat the Buccaneers. I do have them playing the Seahawks in the championship game, and if someone was to beat them, I think the Seahawks could do it. I don't think the Saints could. Saints play them first round at New Orleans, the second round at New Orleans. I just think the Bucks, Tom Brady, playoff Tom, is just too good. And Madden, as you can see, predicts the Browns will win the Super Bowl. There's no way. If the Browns win the Super Bowl, I don't know what we'll do. But Zach, I think maybe in the comments people can give us a challenge if the Browns win the Super Bowl. But they're gonna play the Saints. Like I said, I could see the Saints making the Super Bowl. I don't see the Browns making the Super Bowl. But who knows? I mean, Madden may be right.
Boy, they should go to Vegas.
For real.
Yeah, obviously, we both have the Chiefs here. I think it's hard to bet against them. They got so much talent. Best quarterback in the league, arguably.
Yeah.
They're going to be there. Most likely. And then I went with the home team pick to get to the Super Bowl. Not a full home team bias, so I got the Chiefs winning. I just think they're too good. So
I mean, you guys got DK Metcalf. You've got, and more importantly, you've got freaking Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson. It kills me to say this because of my uncle and how much crap I received because Russell Wilson has one Super Bowl title and been to 2 Super Bowls, and Andrew Luck didn't even make it to 1 Super Bowl. Which I honestly think you could have put any quarterback with that defense and won a Super Bowl. That's how good the Legion of Boom was. But I have to give it to Russell Wilson. Not only is he a stand-up guy, he is also a hell of a quarterback. I don't think anyone really predicted how good of a quarterback he would become. And I think he really laid the groundwork for Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, just as Drew Brees has laid the groundwork for the opportunity for a Baker Mayfield, and those smaller quarterbacks. I don't think you have a Deshaun Watson if you don't have a Russell Wilson. Personally,
no, I mean, I think Lamar Jackson is definitely playing wide receiver for someone. If Russell Wilson didn't have the success that he's had the past decade.
I mean, he pulls the Terrell Pryor, right? Like, you remember Terrell Pryor out of Ohio State, who was with the Raiders for a couple years, playing quarterback, and then they dropped him, and Washington picked him up as a wide receiver. I mean, I definitely think that's a Lamar Jackson. Probably not a Patrick Mahomes, probably not a Deshaun Watson, but I gotta give it to Russell Wilson. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's really surprised a lot of people, and I definitely think he's a future Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah, he's one of those quarterbacks where you just have you're watching the Seahawks, and it's one of those games where they're down like 6-14 in the third quarter to the Jaguars or something.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson just he does these twirls in the pocket. He rolls one way, rolls the other, and then he hits Tyler Lockett for a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna win this game.
Well, except when they're playing Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers throws a Hail Mary.
That'll do it.
All right, man. Well, hey, guys, this has been our predictions. Obviously, we're in no way, shape, or form professionals. We're not Trey Wingo and, Adam Schefter and all those guys. But I know I had a lot of fun doing this. Zach, I hope you did too.
Yeah, definitely.
Not sure the schedule on this yet, guys, how often we'll do this. I would like to do it every other week. Maybe we'll go to a weekly. We're a little bit longer than I thought we would be. We're at 50 minutes, just over 50 minutes, which is surprising to me. But
First
definitely,
one,
yeah.
excited.
First one, we were excited. We had a lot to talk about. We'll probably do shorter ones in the future, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let us know in the comments section any questions you want to ask. I think it'd be awesome if we had a question and answer round. Kind of gave our opinions on some things. So yeah, leave in the comment section questions. Please keep them relevant to sports. And then also subscribe to the YouTube channel, to Demigod Colt YouTube channel. You can check us out, check me out. Zach's usually playing with me too on Twitch, twitch.tv/Demigod Colt. And yeah, if you guys have questions, topics you want us to talk about, we won't just talk about football. We'll also talk about soccer some, I'm sure. We'll definitely talk about baseball. Zach will have to school me on that one because I'm not anywhere near as educated on baseball. And we'll probably talk about basketball a little bit more as we get closer to the finals. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Zach, anything you want to say before we end this?
No, it was fun. And as we're signing off here, I think it is 5:20 p.m. West Coast. I think we're kicking off the season.
Yeah, season's starting. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.